All right, it's recording now. Make sure. Yeah, it's okay. So let's share the screen. Yeah, we're doing poem number 58 from Rumi. Let me see where we were last time. I hope I can find the place. Oh, it's going up again. Mm. Oh, 37, right? That should be it, right? Yep. Today is 21st, right? 14 days. Okay. So, shall we start reading the. What do you think, Peter? Shall we read the poetry first or just keep going from here?
Yeah, I think it's nice. Oh, Arabic we don't. Yeah, yeah, it's
No,
very.
shall we start read the poem from the for poem and then or just go on from here? Was what my question was.
Oh yeah, from here it's good.
Oh, good. Okay. So we are we got to up to here. There is a poem that we're doing, and some of the verses which just come when we get there. You'll see the verses. It's what so the way we do this is we take one. Rumi has two major works. I have to explain it because we have AK today, new. Um, Rumi has two type of work. I mean, two major works is one is Masnavi, which is in six books, and it is his Sufi teachings. It's in poems. You know, uh, it's in it's poems basically, and it's poetry. And then we have Ghazaliyat, Divan-e Shams. I'm sorry, it's called Divan-e Shams. Divan-e Shams is his ghazals, in which is Farsi, is uh, love poems, is basically between 18 to 15 verses, and it's his conversation, Rumi conversation with the divine, and what. So we choose one of those, and then the best way to do commentary on any Sufi work, even in Quran, they say in Quran is to go and find other places from Rumi works to because Rumi has explained himself in other places basically. So we have to go and go to the other places in Rumi works and find what he means by that, what he means when he by a specific verse. This is the way to do this. This is what the best way the most of the Sufi masters and Rumi scholars they suggest is to, if you want to understand Rumi, don't go outside of Rumi. Look into the other places in Rumi uh, uh, poems and Rumi works, and find what that specific uh, poem means. All right, say let's say this one will this poem is poem number 808 from book 4 of Masnavi, and this we are using these words. We are using this to explain what we mean, what Rumi wants to tell us. I read the Persian version of it, the Farsi, so you understand. You guys get the the music of the poem, and then we translate it into English and explain it. جوهران باشد که قائم با خود اوست، آن عرض باشد که فرع او شده است. The substance is that which subsists in itself. The event that is that which has become a derivative of it, of the substance. We as human beings stand on our infinity. The egoic mind or the ego is the derivative. Now the ego, which is the derivative, has become the substance. Here Rumi prays to God and says, "Oh God, make our light complete at this moment." This is right here. "Oh Lord, make our light complete in the plane of the resurrection and deliver us from shameful and overwhelming dignities." This is in Arabic, as a matter of fact, this poem, but that's what it means. He has some poems in Arabic, not that many, but some. "Oh God, make our light complete at this moment." Here Rumi indicating that the attachments are shameful. We are indeed shameful, but we want to eliminate our weaknesses. So the ego is uh, the ego is derivative. Is not the truth. Is not our truth. Is not our reality. Is not our reality, but capital R. Car. Is not our true self. We have lost our true self. Because why? Because we got attached to the earthly matters, and we have become the derivative, which is the ego became the original, the substance, the substance. These are uh, philosophical concepts which are discussed in Islamic philosophy. And Rumi was a philosopher too, by the way. He knew everything, every knowledge of his time. مرده باید بود پیش حکم رق مرده باید بود پیش حکم حق تا نیاید زخم از رب الفلق. This is book 1, verse 911. One must be dead in the presence of God's decree, so that no blow may come from the Lord of the daybreak. This is Rabbul Falaq. It refers to a verse of Quran. Rabbul Falaq. Rumi uses Quran very much. He was very much well versed in Quran. Probably he knew it by heart, the way he talks about it here. So here, please pay attention. The Lord wants to open the daybreak and open the space within our hearts. We don't die in the presence of God's decree and don't surrender. God creates events and we don't open our hearts and resist them. Therefore, we become the essence of event and happen as an event. We become the event. When you resist the event, you become the event, which is a temporary thing. You, as your true self, is permanent. By resisting the event, you become the event. So basically, you leave your permanence and go to your being temporary. Happening and as an event for us is embarrassing. We resist and judge, and this will change us into an event. We need to open our hearts and surrender and die as an egoic mind. Otherwise, we will be punished. Here talks about the blow. Rumi says you have to be dead in the presence of God, meaning you have to accept the event. Now, doesn't mean that you don't want to change it. You can change it because God gave you the freedom to change, but you have to accept it. You have to accept it first. And that's what we don't. And ego does not want to even accept. It doesn't want to even acknowledge it. Ego, as soon as the event happens, resist it. We need to open our hearts and surrender and die as an egoic mind. Otherwise, we will be punished. We have to diminish of ego. Dying in ego is not dying in the body, is dying in the ego. It's not dying. The body is fine. There was some instances people wanted to get rid of their ego. They knew ego is bad. They killed themselves. But that doesn't kill the ego. You have to be alive and kill your ego and diminish your ego. The body has to be around. We need to open the space in our heart and treat it as a guest and be present and alert. We need to observe it with the spiritual intelligence and not with the mind intelligence. That's a lot of You know, a lot of wisdom here if you pay attention. Yeah, so here Rumi says one must be dead in the presence of God's decree so that no blow may come from the Lord of the daybreak. So if we are not dead in the presence of God's decree, we will be punished. Now, in reality, the only alive entity in the world is God. Everything is dead. Everything, including our ego. So when we are when we say, "Oh, I exist," as ego in front of the divine, which is the only alive being in the world, we get punished because we are saying something untrue, right? If it's like you're saying something wrong, so you get um, punished. حکم حق گسترد بهر ما بساط که بگویید از طریق انبساط. God's law has rolled the carpet of mercy and grace out for us. Speak out in an open-hearted way. This is one of the famous poems that the Rumi lovers uh, memorize. This is good for all of us to memorize. Good for you guys to memorize. God's law has rolled the carpet of mercy and grace for us, grace out for us. Speak out in an open-hearted way. God said, "I gave you I have given you mercy and grace. So speak out in an open-hearted way. I have been open-hearted about you. God is accepting all of us, right? We do so many wrongs and we go to God and say, God, please forgive us. He says, okay, I forgive you. Right at that moment. So God says, I'm so open-hearted. I'm so open. And why don't you become open too? And I have opened my heart to you. I have given my grace and mercy to you. So why don't you open your heart to me too? Right? This is what God is telling us. This is Rumi is telling us how God is treating us. So do the same. Life for God is telling us you connect with me in an open-hearted way, not from closure, not from reaction. So every event has to open your heart. This is the meaning of opening a space around the event. Closure means operating from the ego and the repeated methods of the egoic mind. When you close yourself, you close your heart, you contraction. If we don't approach the events in an open-hearted way, then the blow will come, which is the punishment. Why blow from the Divan, which is all blessing? Because we with our treatment of events, we turn this blessing to blow. We turn it. God is all blessing, but when we turn, we make the event, we resist the event, we get punished. Life does not want this. Life does not want this. But when an event happens in your life, do you want to become like the essence of the event and happening, or do you want to become the essence of the divine? Because the event is temporary. It's going to change. Any event, your thought is an event. Our thought is an event. It's going to change. Correct? It's temporary. So don't become the essence of your thought. Don't become the essence of the event, because you are not from that essence anyway. That's temporary, and your true self is permanent. You determine if you want to become the essence of the events and resist and judge and receive the blow of the universe. This is the law of the universe, and you can not run from it. Wonderful. We have discussed all the attributes of the egoic mind, which are complaining, dissatisfaction, fear, hurt, retribution, regret about the past, fear of the unknown future, anxiety, and rush. Right? These are the attributes of egoic mind, ego. That's all there is right there. Every bad thing comes from there, guys. Every bad thing comes from there. میزند جان در جهان آبگون نعره یا لیت قومی یعلمون. That is book 5 verse 1740. For in the bright celestial world The spirit is crying, oh, if only my people knew. گر نخواهد زیست جان بی این بدن پس فلک ایوان کی خواهد بدن. If the spirit shall not live without this body, then for whom shall heaven be the palace of everlasting residence. پس فلک ایوان کی خواهد بودن. I'm sorry. گر نخواهد زیست جان بی این بدن پس فلک ایوان کی خواهد بودن. If the spirit shall not live without this body, then for whom shall heaven be the palace of everlasting resistance. گر نخواهد بی بدن جان تو زیست فی سماع رزقکم روزی یکیست. If your spirit shall not live without the body, for whom is the blessing promised in the world in heaven is your livelihood. These are 3 consecutive verses from Rumi, book 5, 17, 40, 41, and 42. The above verses refers to 2 verses from Quran. Here is the this is Surah number 36, verse 26. قِيلَ أَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ. It was said, into paradise. He said, if only my people knew. And then another surah, Surah 51, verse 22. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. And in heaven is your livelihood and what you are promised. These 3 verses are very important. When you open your heart, your normal world turns into a bright world. The dark turns into the bright. Whoever is in that space wishes and prays that others would come to this universe. So as soon as you open your heart and your dark space becomes bright world, then you wish for everybody else to come here, like Rumi's universe, which is paradise. Okay, so if you are turning your darkness, which is your ego, to the brightness, which is your soul, then when you are in that space, a beautiful and lighted space, then you are hoping everybody can come with you. And you being a good person that you are, when you go to a nice place, like even in this world, you say, oh, I wish so and so was here, right? We say that. That's what you say. Then he realized that others are living in their egoic mind and destroying themselves and others around them. They have pain and cause pain for others. They make a mess for themselves and others. Then you pray for others and hope to bring them from their chaotic and painful life and existence to paradise, which is the place of harmony and peace. Right? So these 3 verses are bringing this. We are just trying to understand these 3 verses. The cry in the first event, the cry in the first verse is not a loud voice, because these noises come from the egoic mind, not from the spirit. It's the crying here. For in the bright, so the spirit is crying, oh, if only my people knew. Here you are in a good place. You are in the bright world, and you're crying and saying, why? I wish the other people knew where they can get. They can get to this bright world too, but they're not choosing to. So this is a quiet cry. This is not loud noise. Here it says. The cry in the first verse is not a loud voice, because these noises come from the egoic mind, not from the spirit. Noises and loud voices doesn't come from the spirit. The spirit is very quiet, very quiet. As a matter of fact, Rumi calls himself quiet. The crying is a strong vibration and very deep opening of the heart, which sends lovely energies to the universe and it influences people with egoic mind. So that cry is not a loud voice, it is a strong and delicate and tender vibration and deep, which sends lovely energies to the universe and it influences people with egoic mind. If you are next to a to a into a Sufi, to a Sufi which has been freed from his or her uh, ego, and has it's going to tell you this to you. Oh, for in the bright celestial world the spirit is crying, oh, if only my people. When he gets to you, probably he is in a bright place, he's in a bright world, and with his vibration he's telling you, I wish you were you were there that I am. You would come, you were in the place that I am right now. The cry in the first place is not a loud voice because these noises come from the egoic mind, not from the spirit. This crying is a strong vibration and very deep opening of the heart, which sends lovely energies to the universe and it influences people with egoic mind. That's why he says, if your spirit shall not be without your the body, meaning that if your spirit cannot live without your egoic mind, then why does God say that your livelihood is in heaven? Therefore, we can manage our lives without egoic minds, and our spirits are capable of running our lives without the destructive interventions of our egos. Here. If the spirit shall not live without this body, then for whom shall heaven be the palace? So here Rumi says that we can live without our ego. We have enough ego in ourselves just to preserve us. We don't need more than that, basically. گر نخواهد بی بدن جان تو زیست فی سما و رزقکم روزی کیست. If your spirit shall not live without the body, for whom is the blessing promised in the world in heaven is your livelihood. This is book 5, verse 1742. Here you can take the body as your ego. Therefore, Rumi tells us that without our ego, our attachments, our conditional mind, we can have a great life. Okay, we can have a great life. We don't need the ego to intervene, because some people, they think, oh, this is this is common in people, in people who confront this kind of who are exposed to these kind of thoughts and spiritual teaching. Oh, if I and follow Rumi, then I'm not going to have any life. I'm not, I'm young. I'm young. I'm 30 years old. Let me just live this life for another 20, 30. When I get old, then I go and study Rumi. Then I follow his teachings. For now, I'm too young for this stuff. Why should I do it now? I don't want to lose my life, because they think if they diminish their ego, they're gonna be worse enough. They're gonna lose their lives, or that's not the case. That's what Rumi says. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون. He was said into paradise. He said, if only my people knew. We already had this, right? Here we learned that as soon as we open our hearts and expand the space within us, we enter paradise. See how Rumi interprets Quran verses. It's very different from a traditional way that people read Quran and understand and interpret. He takes a very spiritual internal message from Quran, and this is they say in Sufi say the Quran has seven layers. And seven, as you probably know, is the symbol of infinity. It's infinite numbers of layers. So each person gets a layer. It's not the first layer is not wrong, but it's the first layer. You can go to second and third and fourth and on and on. So you can go to the deeper level of understanding the verses of Quran. Here we learn that as soon as we open our hearts and expand the space within us, we enter paradise. Paradise is the open space in our heart. Therefore, it tells you to enter the paradise. And as soon as you enter the paradise, you will cry out and hope that other people know what you know. ففي سماء رزقكم وما توعدون. And in heaven is your livelihood and what you are promised. Surah 51, verse 22. Your livelihood is coming from heaven, which means your solutions come from heaven, from the expanded heart. Here, heaven means expanded heart in Rumi terminology. Now you realize where your problem is and how you can solve it. Expanded heart. Some people believe the whole idea behind Islam is to expand our hearts. It's that important. That important. There is an ayah in Quran from the mouth of Hazrat Musa, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Your blessings upon him. Rabba shrihli sadri. O Rab, O God, O Lord, open my heart, expand my heart. Va yassirli amri. Make things easy for me. Yeah, that's very important. Expansion of heart. Expansion of heart. We can expand our heart to infinity. Infinity. Whatever your heart is, however expanded it is, it can become more. Never stop. That's a journey. There is no destination. Expansion of heart it's forever, forever, and for infinity. Expand, 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 expand. Without true love, I was lost, and suddenly life came to my rescue. Now you understand what Rumi meant when he gave us above poem. This is first poem from this poem number 58 from Divan-e Shams. Without true love, I was lost and misdirected, and suddenly life came to my rescue. Now we understand what Rumi meant when he gave us the above poem. Love is synonymous with an expanded heart. Love is synonymous with the expanded heart. If you don't know, ask the wise bird, symbol of a spiritual master, the way to the Solomon palace. This is from the poem. If you are misdirected and you would like to travel on the straight path, ask Rumi and other spiritual masters to show you the way. That's why we're studying Rumi. We're asking him, please show us the way to expanded heart, how we can expand our heart. روی زرد و پای سست و دل سبک، کو قضای و سما ذات الحبک. That is book 2, room 1085. He is pale-faced, weak-footed, faint-hearted. Where is the food of by heaven which has numerous tracks? آن غذای خاصگان دولت است، خوردن آن بی گلو و آلت است. That is the food of the chosen ones of the divine sovereignty. The eating thereof is done without throat or instrument. That eating doesn't need a throat. It's light. It's not food. It's light. That's the consecutive poem 2-180, book 2, poem verse 1086. شد غذای آفتاب از نور عرش، مر حسود و دیو را از دود فرش. That's the next poem. The food of a spiritual sun is derived from the light of the celestial throne. The food that belongs to the envious and devilish is derived from the smoke of the terrestrial carpet. So that it just tells the difference between two type of food. right? Two type of food. One for people of the spiritual sun, and one for the envious and devilish one. I'm sorry, devilish. The individual who is sick in his mind is pale-faced, weak-footed, and faint-hearted. The egoic person, the people with a lot of ego, are sicker. The more ego you have, the more sick you are, the sicker you are. His heart moves with the wind from one direction to the other. See the people who are egotistical, they move with the wind, this way, that way. They're not rooted. He's not stable or established and grounded. His mood changes on a dime. You guys, all of us have seen it, and sometimes we become like that, right? Unfortunately. والسماع ذات الحبك. This is the ayah which this one coming from. والسماع ذات الحبك. Swear on the sky that has numerous tracks. Vast. Here, Rumi indicates that an expanded heart offers you solution to your problems. Numerous tracks. As a specific solution to a specific problem. Therefore, as long as you don't expand your heart, your problems and challenges will not be solved. Your problems will not be solved with causation or with social media or technology. It shows our being lost in our daily lives. The solution comes from heaven, which does not mean the sky, but the expanded heart within our being. Wonderful, right? So the solution, the real solution to the problems that we have, comes from the heart, the heaven within us, the sky within us, which is the expanded heart. Are we seeking solution from egoic mind and rotten beliefs, conditional patterns, or destructive egos? That's mostly what we do, right? Most people do that. They look solution in their egoic mind, in their ego, and use the rotten beliefs, conditional patterns, the patterns that we have learned from others. What ego says. If somebody curses at you, you curse back, right? If somebody cuts in front of you in the street, go in front of him and cut in front of him, or cut in front of somebody else, for that matter, right? These are ego patterns, egoic patterns, conditional patterns, which is in our mind. We learn from here and there. Then he says, that is the food of the chosen ones of the divine sovereignty, individuals like Rumi or you, if you have expanded your heart. The eating thereof is done without a throat or instrument. This is not the food that we eat for lunch or dinner. Yes. The food that we eat for lunch and dinner, but the food that we eat without the throat. This is the food for without the throat. Rumi teaching is a light. Doesn't need a throat. It needs an open heart, basically. You listen to his messages and open your heart, and you get it. The food of the spiritual sun is derived from the light of the celestial throne. The food that belongs to the envious and devilish is derived from the smoke of the terrestrial carpet. Now we must examine ourselves and find out where to get our food. Is it from an egoic mind or an expanded heart or expanded heart? We have to check ourselves every second, every moment. Am I getting my food from my ego, or I'm getting my food from my expanded heart? Every moment. از خدا غیر خدا را خواستن ضمن افسونی است کلی کاستن. This is a very, very famous poem for Rumi lovers. It's good to memorize it. Book 5773. To crave of God other than God is merely the supposition of gain, and in reality, it is entire loss. Rumi says, don't ask anything from God but Himself. Anything else you ask is a supposition of gain, and in reality, it is entire loss. You think you're asking, if you ask for something earthly from God Almighty, it is, you're asking too little. That's what he's saying. You're asking too little. I mean, we all need, and we do, by the way, and we all do pray for earthly matters too. I mean, God give us, rizq, livelihood, this and that. Fine. But don't stay there. Don't don't limit your asking from God to these small things, which we all need, by the way. But Rumi says here, ask God Himself. Ask God for infinity. Don't ask for finite things. Ask for infinity. Infinity. To crave of God other than God is merely the supposition of gain, and in reality, it is entire loss. Therefore, we have to expand our hearts and crave only for God, and crave only for God. We should not contract our inner space. We should not contract our inner space and only ask for attachments. If you put all the verses that we have read and concepts that we have discussed, then you can write a script of your life. You can say how my life is working, how I am handling my life, how I am managing my life. Am I asking God for small stuff? Am I getting food from heaven, from open heart? Or these are all about us? Or like people, or the food of, am I getting my food from the spiritual sun? Or I'm getting it from the smoke? Like the envious and devilish people, right? That's what he's saying here. رسیدان شه بیارایید ایوان را فرو برید ساعدها برای خوب کنعان. This is the verse from poem number 58. The king is arriving. The king is arriving. King here is a symbol of divine. Beautify and decorate the home. You will cut your hand as soon as Prophet Joseph shows up. Now we understand this verse. The king arriving, it repeats it twice. It is happening all the time in the present. And have we beautified and decorated our home, our being, for his arrival? Decorating our being is removing the attachments and diminishing the ego. And then your inner beauty, which is like Joseph, will rise in you like a sun. Everybody has a Joseph, a handsome being, entity, a beautiful person, a beautiful entity in himself or herself. All of us have it. علتی بر طرز پندار کمال نیست اندر جان تو ای زودلال. This is another beautiful and famous poem from Rumi. There is no worse disease in your soul, O arrogant one, than the fantasy of perfection. Ego thinks it's perfect. Everybody in his ego thinks he or she is perfect. That's a disease. Rumi says it is a soul disease in your soul. Whoever has a disease of fantasy of perfection and thinks that there is nothing wrong with his situation is a worldly clever one. Whoever sees this disease and tries to get rid of it is among the lovers. If you know that you have this disease and you don't do anything about it, you're a worldly clever one. If you have that, make sure that you get rid of it. It takes a long time. Then another poem, I don't know if it's here or not. Rumi says, it takes a lifetime, takes a lot of crying, takes a lot of crying and a lot of blood. It takes a lot of crying and crying and blood and tears to get rid of this fantasy of perfection. There is no worse disease in your soul, O arrogant one, than the fantasy of perfection. This cockiness and self-importance do not go away easily. We have to work very hard to eliminate it. We need to stay away from worldly, clever ones and focus and concentrate on ourselves to get rid of this disease. It's a very hard disease. This is Rumi, and you probably have experience in your life. It's very hard to get rid of this disease, this fantasy of perfection. Don't ever perfect. I'm going to tell you that, in my humble opinion, perfect is the only perfect is God. We all are imperfect, and we have to do things imperfectly. It's okay, as long as that's why I do this. I know my translation is not perfect, has a lot of issues. I know that English is my second language. My accent is not perfect. Forget about perfect. It's not great even. It's okay, But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. Because if I stop, this is Satan telling me don't do anything until you become perfect, which I will never become. So basically, the ego says don't do nothing, wait to be perfect, which you will never be, and you're going to lose your time. Okay. 7:54. I should have stopped earlier, but I just realized that I have to give you guys time to talk. I'm sorry. I overtalked. So I'm going to stop and listen to you guys. And Mita, you have any comments, suggestions, any?
Yeah, thank you, Akbar. Yeah, I think the fantasy of perfection, it's a human plight. I know a lot of people around me who don't realize their potential because they're waiting until things are perfect or complete, and we all know you're gonna wait an eternity to get there. So
It's a no starter, as they say, Mita, right? It's a no starter, meaning that it don't do anything. You wait for never happen.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, sorry. No starter. That's what the English say. No starter, right?
no
It's a no
starter.
starter. It means that you're not gonna do anything. You're just gonna wait and wait and wait forever. Yeah, I think we have to do whatever we can in our imperfectness to make ourselves and the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, because without trying, we cannot improve.
That's true. Okay, what's what you please go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. I just wanted to open up my camera. That's it.
You have a question?
No, Mr. Akbar, no question.
No, how about some suggestion, comments? What you learned, what you got from what we read so far? I think tonight
It was
we
very
read
good.
good.
I think, Mr. Akbar, I have we have done some of these poetry already
Yeah.
in the past.
Yes, you're right.
So for me, it was like a repetition.
Yeah.
And it was fine. Yeah.
Well, Susan, you need repetition. You need repetition. You know,
100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. And, let me tell you something about repetition. I hope probably you know, but in Islam we read Muslims pray 5 times a day. Oh yes, the verses that they read is all the same, but God says, do it, do it, do it, do it, because if you don't repeat, we'll forget. The problem that we as human beings are is forgetfulness. We forget where we're coming from. We forget what we are here for. So that's why repetition is the key for success. Repeat, 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 repeat. Don't. Yeah, I know a bunch of them is coming back. You're right. It's like, let me give you a I know you know this, but I just want to emphasize that. It's like It's like it's a tool, my dear. It's a tool. Like you have a plumber, and he has a French, whatever, like a screwdriver, say, and you say, "Hey, the plumber brings a screwdriver and does something for you," and the next time he comes and takes the screwdriver, and you tell him, "Hey, you already used the screwdriver. Who are you repeating yourself?" It's a tool. It's a tool. You whenever you need it, you take it out and you use it, utilize it. It's a tool. So these are tools. We have to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until we become it. You have to become this. It has to come into being in your heart, in your entity, in your being. It becomes you. You become this poem. Then as a matter of fact, then even they repeat. Yeah, because it repeats itself in you now. So repetition is no problem. Don't worry about repetition. Just repeat and repeat and repeat. All right, AK, it's your turn, my brother. Okay, AK, I guess he's away from his phone. All right, it's 7:58. If you guys or if you guys have any nothing else to say, shall we stop first the